Yeah, so now we're heading back to Kathmandu. We've had our 4 days with the bikes. We took them in for a little bit of a check-up earlier on at the Classic Wheels workshop then in Pokhara. I'll leave a link to the description for all those guys because they were really helpful. Bike's running perfectly as per normal. It actually runs a little bit better now. We got some got the chains tightened up a little bit. They were a little bit slack, and got my idle adjusted. That's running perfectly now. We're running a little bit late. I think we're going to probably come into the last hour or so, probably in the dark. But yeah, kind of getting used to that now. I don't really like riding in the dark, but I do have a tail light that works now anyway. So that's something. At least people can see me braking, and which they couldn't before. None of this road's particularly interesting, really. So I'm not really going to record much of this road. There is some interesting bits at the other end, but this video was really just all about this bike on the dirt, really. And to be fair, it does alright on the tarmac as well. I guess I should sort of sum up my feelings about this bike, really. And they're mostly pretty good. And I'm kind of surprised in some ways because I had my reservations about this bike, whether it would make it alright. You know, I was worried about, you know, all this highway riding and all this off-road riding, that sort of strain it would put on the engine, and how well the chassis components would hold up, and that's caused us no problems at all. The only problems we've had is just our own problems, you know, like dropping it and breaking the mirror and things like that. So it's all superficial damage really that we've done to it. You know, one of the bolts rattled loose and stuff, but basically no problems. I guess the reservations I had about this bike were, first, is it's a Chinese-made bike. It certainly looks the part, and you look around it, but you don't see any sort of brands that you recognise. There's no Showa suspension, Marzocchi forks, or Brembo brakes, or anything like that. It's all sort of cheaper Chinese alternatives. But unlike a lot of sort of Chinese bikes and sort of Indian bikes, it's legit. It doesn't just have stuff on here that makes it look good. It's all stuff that works well. Like the suspension is all fully adjustable and seems to work very well. Its engine is very good. I mean, obviously we've done quite a lot of highway sort of tarmac miles like this on it, and obviously batted it off road for 2 days, and no problems at all really. So yeah, it's a legitimately good dirt bike. Yeah, they also do a 450 version as well, which I'd be very interested to ride. There's a few, I mean 250 I think is enough for this country, but there's a few moments where, you know, a 450 would be really nice. So I suppose I should be objective, I guess, and point out some things that maybe I don't like about this bike. Well, I wouldn't say don't like, and I wouldn't say it's the fault of the bike. It's just for the type of riding that we've done, I think the seat is probably too hard and too narrow. But for sort of competition use or enduro use, it's fine. It's actually you know, a bit softer than most motocross bikes that you sit on. But you know, just for the sort of riding that we've been doing, it'd be nice to have like maybe a touring seat option, maybe something a little bit softer, maybe a little bit wider. Because yeah, my ass is pretty bruised up. It's really not comfortable right now. But again, it's not really designed for long touring really. But it's manageable, and if you've got a slightly less bony ass than I have, you'll probably be alright with it. So that's one small gripe. Again, I wouldn't say it's a complaint really, it's just something it'd be nice to have that as an option. Likewise, on the same vein, I think it would be nice to have a larger fuel tank option. Maybe there's something like that coming soon. I think that would be very useful. Just to have, like, you know, maybe 13 litres or something, 13, 14 litres, possibly up to like 15 litres. At the moment it's about 9 litres, which means stops are fairly frequent. So about 140 kilometres to Kathmandu, so we've still got quite a long way to go. It's going to start getting dark soon, so we're going to do the last third of the road probably in the dark, which I'm not very happy about, but You know, that's the thing in this country. When everyone says, "Okay, we'll leave at 2 o'clock," that probably means 4 o'clock. Or if someone says, "I'll meet you in 10 minutes," that could be anywhere between like half an hour and an hour. Nepali time, it's different from regular time. Like in the back window of that coach, someone had written into the dust on the back of the window, "Deluxe, free Wi-Fi." It's like, yeah, if you have to write "Deluxe" into the dirt on the back of your window, it's probably not deluxe. It's good we got a decent back brake now. My back brake was getting a bit worn out before, but we changed the pads and feels a lot better now. Although I do keep locking the back wheel into the corners a little bit. We're not going flat out on the way back, to be fair. We're just sort of taking it at a relatively steady pace. Yeah, we've been going crazy the last 2 days. Now it's just about getting back and getting the bikes back in one piece. So yeah, in terms of other things I don't really like about this bike, not really, to be honest. For what it is, I don't really have too many complaints. It's a more focused bike than something like a CRF 250L. I guess over here that's probably the thing to compare it to, really. The excuse me, Honda CRF 250L, which is it's more of a sort of dual sport bike, really. It's more use, realistically, probably more designed for the sort of riding that we were doing. But ultimately, on the really rough stuff, like when we went up to Chame, it's a lot worse. In terms of the suspension, I mean, I don't think that Honda would have made it up those roads quite as easily. And certainly not at the sort of pace that we were going as well. So, in a way, I would have loved the more comfortable seat of the Honda. But ultimately, I'm glad I took this Crossfire. Because, yeah, the suspension on this is so much better for hard off-road riding. And ultimately, that's really where you want the suspension to be good. On the road like this, you know, no dirt bike's going to feel amazing. But really, you want it to feel good on the dirt, and that's where this is a lot better than the CRF, I think. But yeah, a comfy seat would be nice. 136 kilometers. Not that I'm counting or anything, but I really just want to get there. I'm not a big fan of this road. I've done this road a few times now. I've done it on coaches. I've done it on a bike. It's just not that much of an enjoyable road, I think, really. It's actually a lot better this year. The surfaces and everything are actually really good. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the actual ride itself. It's too long, not interesting enough, and give me the Prithvi Highway or something any day. That's a much better road. I'm sure if I was on something like a Duke or something like that, I'd probably prefer this. But as it is on this bike, I'd much rather just be on. Oh no, I was going to say a Pulsar. No, definitely not a Pulsar. Sorry for all you Pulsar fans. You know, it's a good bike. I guess you could almost say iconic, really, the Pulsar. But for me, it's just too uncomfortable. I'm sorry, it just doesn't fit me and just destroys my testicles. But then this thing's absolutely ruined my ass. But again, that's not really a fault of the bike. That's just a fault of me being a bit heavier and riding it sat down in the seat a lot. Realistically, you know, this is a bike that you sort of ride hard off-road, so you can forgive it for that, I think. Okay, I'll just film this part because this is quite pretty and it's quite smooth around here, and you can see for a little way up the road. So that's it. You have to do a lot of sketchy overtakes on this road. I'm still not big on overtakes. They still scare me a little bit. Oh, I make the suspension really soft for off-road as well, so this bike just weaves everywhere at the moment. Oh, my helmet's lifting up. That's the thing, once you get above sort of 70 miles an hour, the peak just catches the wind and lifts your head up. Oh, it's fucking bouncing all over the place. I should probably have stiffened the compression up a bit before we got back on the road, but never mind. Oh, dropped out of gear there. Doesn't happen very often, to be fair. It's got a pretty decent gearbox, this thing. Yeah, these knobbly tyres really aren't good on this sort of surface. You really can't lean them over. There's very little contact patch, but it's alright once you get used to it. But these knobbly tyres are just destroyed now. They looked almost new when I took it out a couple of days ago. Now there's just big blocks missing all over them. That's what happens when you just ride them on tarmac like this all the time. I guess you just shred them. To be fair, you know, we were riding on a lot of jagged rocks as well, which I think is probably the majority of the wear and tear, to be honest. I'd like to give a few big thanks to everyone, really. Obviously thanks to Binod, my little riding buddy, for the last few days, for sort of hooking me up and just making this trip a little bit more enjoyable. It's always fun with someone else to ride with. I'd like to thank the guys at Classic Wheels in Lazimpat, Kathmandu, just for hooking us up with the bike, giving us a good honest price too. Really helpful guys down there. They got a good workshop and a good selection of bikes as well. So, and they know their stuff. They're all bike fans as well. So, you know, if you're in Kathmandu, in the area, pop on in, have a chat with them, have a coffee with them or something. They're a good bunch of lads. Likewise, I'd like to thank Rosen from Classic Wheels in Pokhara, again for just helping us get these bikes just tweaked a little bit before we did this ride home. Called him out the night before, just asked him if he could pop around in the morning. No problem. Guys were really quick and efficient, got it all done, again, a very good price. So again, big thanks to those guys. I'd like to thank everyone up in Manang. They'll probably never see this video, they'll probably never watch it, but again, all those people that helped us out and, you know, we chatted with along the way, just made the whole journey a little bit more enjoyable, you know. And ultimately that's what this trip is all about, really. Obviously riding bikes, but it's all about people, and that's kind of why I keep coming back to this place. Is the people are just so friendly, you know, and always make me feel welcome. And you know, as a tourist coming here, you know, it's not easy for some people to live here, but as a tourist you get a pretty easy time, to be fair. Everyone's very helpful and really friendly to you, so I can't recommend coming here enough just for that reason, to be honest. And also, I guess I'd like to thank Asiawing for producing this Crossfire bike, because it kind of exceeded my expectations. I was kind of thinking a Chinese bike is just going to fall apart, or you know, it's just going to be all show but no performance. But no, it's not. It's a cracking little bike, and I'm officially impressed. It's a great bike. Best dirt bike in Nepal? Yeah, I think it probably is. I think it's a very important bike for Nepal, this, because this country is just set up for off-road riding and enduro riding. But they've never really had any proper machinery to do it on. Sure, you've got like old Honda XRs, but they're all old and battered now, you know, and you can't really use those in anger much, because again, parts are really expensive and getting hard to come by now. And again, as good as they are as a trail bike, this is much more focused. You know, this is on the lines of a sort of KTM EXC250, something like that, but it's a bit more streetable. I think it's definitely more roadworthy. I'd also like to thank my helmet. This helmet and I have been through quite a lot together. I first bought this helmet over here from the UK in 2012, just because I had a feeling that none of the helmets over here would fit me, and I was right. None of them do. I've got a bit of a weird head. So I bought this helmet with me in 2012. We've been on lots of adventures together. I used it in the UK for a while too, but it's mostly been used a lot over here. Also been used a lot by my Nepali friends while I've not been here. So it's been all over the country and been on lots of many dirty adventures. But I fear that this is probably the last adventure that this helmet and I will be taking part in. So this has been real on me on a lot of videos. You'll see me wearing this helmet. So this is a part of my time here, actually. I know it's just an inanimate object, but I'll be sad to see this helmet go. Well, no, I won't actually. I'll get a nice new comfortable one that doesn't smell of shit. This one smells pretty bad now. I could just replace the liners, but yeah, it's just cheaper to buy a new helmet in the long run. It's pretty battered, to be fair. I'm not sure how much it's going to protect my head now. What an awesome little bike. Very impressed. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Sorry if all these videos sort of drag out a little bit. I got quite a lot of footage. I don't know how I'm going to edit all this down. But yeah, that's it. Kathmandu to Manang and back again on the Crossfire XZ250RR. Thanks a lot for watching.